Oh, hello. How are you doing? This is Craig Beck, aka the Stop Drinking Expert and the author of Alcohol Lied to Me, a book that has helped hundreds of thousands of people to quit drinking and stay sober. Welcome to the Happy Sober Podcast. And today, the members have spoken. I noticed in the members area where people who have done my course hang around and support each other. They've done a little impromptu poll, and this is it. So it's this is from the 4th of October, so a couple of weeks ago now. Does anyone else want to learn more from Craig Beck on long-term sobriety or relapse prevention? I'm doing great. Love the program. It's changed my life. I feel very solid in my sobriety. I would just love to hear more about these topics and wondered if others felt the same. So a few other suggestions have been added. 56% of people have voted, so they want to talk about long-term sobriety. 27% want to talk about relapse prevention planning. 15% thoughts and cravings at year plus. So after a year of sobriety, we can talk about that. And 2% of people want to talk about making new friends. We're not a very sociable group, are we? So the members have spoken. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about long-term sobriety. If you are still drinking, if you've stumbled across this podcast as a result of doing a search about alcoholism and alcohol addiction, then step one is to go to the website, stopdrinkingexpert.com, sign up for the free webinar, find out how it works and how it's so different to everything else that's out there. All right, that's step one. So let's talk about long-term sobriety. And also, let's talk about the path that sobriety tends to take, all right? Because that point there about relapse prevention planning and this thoughts and cravings at year plus are kind of the same thing. So we can take those two together. And it's interesting the way this is worded. So thoughts and cravings at year plus. Because there seems to be different groups of people on this journey. And there is a group of people who do amazingly well. They've struggled for years, sometimes decades. They've never really managed to get an angle on their drinking. And then they do my course, and for some reason, a penny drops. And their perspective on alcohol, their whole view of it changes. It goes from being something nice, a treat, a pleasure in their life, to being poison. To being, they look at it the same way they look at other drugs like heroin and cocaine. They look at it with contempt. And because their viewpoint is so dramatically changed, they find this process quite easy. And that's good and it's bad. Because what happens is they tend to do very well up until a certain point. And that point is normally around the 9 months to 18 months. Let's say average around a year of sobriety. And something quite powerful happens at that point to these people. They will be generally in a social environment or a stressful environment, and the evil clown will jump up. And the evil clown will say, "Sure, you can have one drink. Just one drink won't hurt." And the ex-problem drinker starts to think, well, you know what? I found it so easy to quit drinking. Maybe I never had a problem at all. Maybe I was just being melodramatic. Maybe I've been too hard on myself. And you know what? I'm at a wedding. I'm going to have that glass of champagne. And so they have that glass of champagne. And they're delighted. They're so thrilled because it tastes like dirt. They hate it. Horrible. They go, "Oh my God, I'm cured. I don't even like the taste of it anymore." And then they start to, then the brain starts going and they start thinking, well, if I don't like the taste of it anymore, maybe I can just have one drink and nurse it all night to be sociable. I have no idea what that beep meant. How very strange. I've never heard that beat before in my life. Oh, okay. All right. This scared me, that. Wait, my throat is killing me. I'm just going to get a drink. I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. I don't know why my voice, since I turned 50, I can't talk very long without my voice hurting. I'm on the beer, folks. It's a Perlenbacher non-alcoholic beer. It's all I had. So, yeah, they start thinking really silly things like, maybe I can just have one drink. Maybe I can open a bottle of wine and have one glass and put it back in the fridge. Maybe I can do all those black magic things that I never thought I'd be able to do. And so they have another drink and they go, I didn't even like that one. Oh my God, I'm cured. And honestly, within a few weeks, they will be back drinking at the level they were when they first stopped. They will go down so quickly and so dramatically, it will shock them. And they'll feel so disappointed and humiliated and ashamed of themselves that it will take them months to pull themselves back out of that loop. Months, sometimes years. There is no such thing as just one drink. It's so much more than that. You got to keep it in your head. It's not just one drink. That just one drink for someone who's been sober for a year is going to lead you on a path that leads to 6 months minimum of misery, self-loathing, guilt, regret, embarrassment, you name it. That's what it's leading to, all right? So, is long-term sobriety even possible? Of course it is. Of course it is. There are many things that other people do habitually and to levels of addiction. There are other highly addictive substances in the world that you don't ever think about. Unless it's been in your life, the chances are you don't worry about fentanyl addiction. You don't worry about opioid addiction. You don't worry about painkillers and stuff like that. Maybe you don't ever think about, oh my God, what if I start smoking? There's so many addictive things out there. Why don't you worry about those? You can spend the rest of your life worrying about alcohol, or you can just get on with your life. Because if you put it on a pedestal, you're giving it more power than it's due. You're giving power to the thing you don't want. And this is why I don't like AA, because AA is basically, all right, every week for the rest of your life, you're going to sit in a church hall or a community center and talk about the thing that you're not allowed to have. Talk about bad psychology. Anything you push away in your life gets stronger. That's the rule, all right? So if you're sitting there going, oh, I hope I don't drink, I hope I don't drink, I hope I don't drink, you are pulling more of that negativity into your life. If you just live your life and forget that there's this thing out there that's very dangerous and addictive and horrible called alcohol, in the same way that you forget that there's solvents you could be sniffing right now. You could be sniffing glue. Lots of people like that, but you don't do it because your programming is perfectly correct. You don't inject heroin into your veins. Apparently that feels amazing. But of course, it leads to destruction and a whole host of horrible things. And you know that, so you don't do it. You don't think about doing it. You're never tempted to do it, right? This is long-term sobriety. You are already sober from all those other things. You just have to add one more into the mix, and that is alcohol. How do you stay sober? Are you worried about that? The best advice I can give you on that is to be the guiding light to other people. Don't just do this for yourself. Help other people. Keep your sentiment alive, all right? Because it's very easy to allow time to pass and the rose-tinted glasses come on and you look back and you go, oh, yeah, but I had great times when I was drunk. I had a lot of fun. Maybe it wasn't that bad. Keep your thoughts alive about how bad it was. be that beacon of hope to someone who's in the position you were in. And, I'm doing this. I mean, all right, I help a lot of people. I have helped a lot of people, but it's not a completely selfless act. I'm not a saint. I get something out of this. And part of that is it keeps me on the straight and narrow. Helping other people, talking continuously about how evil alcohol is and how deceptive and nasty and sociopathic the industry is, it keeps me passionate and committed to this path. And there's no reason you can't do the same. There are people around you in your workplace, in your community, in your family who need help. Now, that doesn't mean you go out and be a preacher, because nobody likes a preacher. There's nothing worse than someone who's just quit drinking and turns up at parties going, oh, you're all drinking poison. You're going to lose all your friends really quickly. Be the guiding light. Lead by your example. If you are happy in your sober life, somebody's going to notice. And one day, I promise you this, one day somebody's going to come up to you and say, hey, do you mind if we have a quiet word? I noticed you stopped drinking and you seem really happy these days. How did you do it? There's your cue. There's your cue. How you become the inspiration to someone else. And if you do this in your community and you help enough people, going back to being that problem drinker is impossible for you now. Too many people rely on you. Too many people trust you. Too many people need you. And that feels lovely. That feels good. Feels good to make that difference, all right? So if you are happily sober now, try and help other people. It keeps the passion alive in you and it helps other people, and that's just a beautiful thing anyway. But the other thing is, if you didn't do it at the time, make sure you have your day one video where you can see it. What's the day one video? Well, when you start this sober journey on my course at stopdrinkingexpert.com, I tell you to make a day one video. This is, you may be 48 hours, 24 hours away from drinking here at this point, and you're so acutely aware of how much damage alcohol has done to your life. You know how miserable it made you. You are in a really good spot to paint the truth, to stick the knife in and twist it a little bit, all right? So I encourage you to get your phone out and make a little video. All right, you get your phone out and you talk to yourself and you explain how bad alcohol made you feel and all the destruction it caused in your life and how it affected your husband and your wife and your children and how you ended up in hospital and all the bad stuff. But you don't pussyfoot around it. You don't sugarcoat it. You say it like nobody's listening. You say it to yourself with all the expletive, all the passion, all the anger that you can muster. You do not censor any of this. It's you talking to you, and you say, this is how bad I felt. This is the destruction it wrought in my life. And you twist that knife. Keep that video on your desktop, on your phone. Watch it once a week. Just so it reminds you that this wasn't a little problem that you had. This was an issue. This was a big issue. It nearly destroyed you. And going back to that is destruction, is death. Never lose sight of that. All right. So I hope that helps. We'll talk a bit more about relapse prevention in future episodes. But if you want something specific talked about, please email me via the website, stopdrinkingexpert.com. Thanks a lot. See you soon.